how good is Caleb Williams? Is there how much hyperbole is out there, right? And how much is Caleb Williams potentially an organizational changing player?
It's funny because I do a lot of my college football watching in the like draft season, like January, February, March, April. I got a chance to see Caleb throw this past summer in person, and it's really impressive. Ball comes off of his hand as well as anybody I've seen in the college level. Uh, I'm a big fan of how Caleb plays. I know, just like I'm not good at my Saturdays are probably like many old guy Saturdays where you got a lot of youth sports. You're not sitting in front of a TV as much as you maybe want to, and you don't get a chance to see him play very much. That being said, I've certainly felt like the Caleb kind of like criticism on my timeline on different social media things has like ramped up. I don't know. It's kind of like what's that movie called? Draft, or the Kevin Costner movie where you kind of like write down who he thinks is like his number one. I would have written down Caleb Williams no matter what, in July, and I still feel the same way. I mean, I think he's that good of a player. I think people love to toss around the term like generational talent. I don't really care about phrases like that. I think he's by far the best college football player. I think he's going to be an outstanding NFL player. I hope he goes to a situation that allows him to thrive, and we'll see what happens.
What does he do so well?
I mean, he does a number of things well. I think the thing that would be the number one trait people would name is he's the epitome of a playmaker. Now, he can get himself in trouble with that, and there's a flip side of that. But he can create, and as well as anybody, he's got great arm talent. He can make all the throws in structure, out of structure, but he's a creative player. So when things break down, it's not things break down and you hope it's not a disaster or it's going to be a throwaway. It's going to be a big play. It's going to be a magical play. He's going to do it off platform, and that stuff you can't teach. That's why he's such a talented guy.
So much of the rest of the season for the Bears will be about, is Justin Fields good enough, or is he franchise quarterback, right? It's going to feel very Justin Fields versus Caleb Williams if they're there to take him. But I also look at how many teams around the NFL would take Caleb Williams if he was there to take, right? Would Dallas Cowboys do it? Would Dak Prescott? Would the Bills do it? Would Josh Allen? I know that this, at least in Chicago, it's Fields versus Williams, but I look at it as Caleb Williams and the NFL. I mean, would it be 75% of teams would take this player?
Yeah, that's a question I had not thought of from that lens. I would say yes, you're right. I absolutely believe that Caleb would be an upgrade for many NFL quarterbacks in their situations. I guess I don't think of it like that. If this makes sense, like I think of, Caleb Williams he's got an opportunity to be, Justin Fields. I guess I think of it individually for these guys. I personally am just a fan of football, want them both to have great careers and think that there's space for both of them to do that. The reality is Justin Fields' time in Chicago might have already come and gone. That doesn't mean that he won't get another opportunity. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have value. That just means that it might have run its course already. And we have watched the end of what it is. And so we're just kind of wrapping up the credits. And that's the reality of the business. And people might not want to hear this, but like, I don't think that it's a great situation for Caleb to walk into if he is the answer there. And I don't think there are a lot of great situations for Caleb to walk into. There are some teams that are probably better than others, but the reason those teams are drafting one is because they have all sorts of holes in their roster, and you saw the kind of evidence with that with what Bryce Young was dealing with last night. And so it's one of those things where you're like, hey, congratulations, you're the best player in the country. Now you're in the worst team with probably the worst setup, the worst supporting cast. Good luck. We'll see you in a couple years.